Howdy, I'm Henning, lead level designer on Walkabout Mini Golf. Welcome to Bogey's Bonanza.
Hello, I'm Edward, lead modeler, and we're both rocking a beta club that we were originally going to have as the unlockable club for this level, but it just didn't work. But for the fun of it, I left it hidden in the game for us to play around with. So, Henning, this is probably more your baby than anyone else's.
Yeah, I definitely feel the most ownership of this one and feel it's still my proudest accomplishment course-wise in the whole game. Probably because I had so much control. I just did it, and I had this whole idea about the story of what happened here and working in the game design, the whole design into that story. Like, we start out in the desert, no town, cow skulls, and we move on to in the desert as the rattlesnake. We ford a river, we break our wagon wheel as we go up to the mine, and we find gold at hole 9, and then we're out into the town after that. That was my whole story about this course. Just got to take control and keep those ideas. It's a thing I don't do that much anymore. Integrate it so tightly into the story.
You should be proud of that story, because this was the level where it came out and Don Carson, who's, I'm not quite sure his job title, president of being the best at everything. And he played this level and he just went, wow, this is incredible. And he really, what he talked about a lot was the story that you went through, and you're like, oh, cool. You can see people were camping here, little pieces where you just went, oh no, this is a space where people have journeyed and lived. And I really feel like I should be bowing. You're doing this story. It's changed the direction of the game, it turns out.
Thanks so much. I feel like retroactively I got some inspiration from Dawn and Disneyland, because this was a lot of looking at Big Thunder Mountain, that ride in Disneyland, which was Western themed, was a lot of the inspiration for this one. The set deck was especially fun on this, and this was one of the last ones where I got to do it.
We had on multiple modelers, I believe Emma and Tad, who are now two of our main modelers, and both just excellent. And I remember after this came out, Don came to give a presentation to the company, and this was before the idea of working together had even occurred. And I remember us all just freaking out that this guy was coming to give a talk about design, and then we stole him. It's so your level, it's so much you, but it also, then we had more people doing the post-processing artistry and figuring all that out.
Yeah, Tad came along and did the modeling of this one mostly, and for the first time since Tourist Trap, Tad was back doing the modeling. And this was the first one where Craig came and made everything as pretty as could be with the limited resources we have. Like, for the first time we have this beautiful running and dimpling water of the stream, and we have flickering candles in the mine coming up, and just this dusty feel over everything. Craig really nailed that.
This level sort of represents a bit of a turning point in the company. We had more people on, and we were changing how we worked on everything. Like, this still had people sitting in it for a long time. Like you said, Henning, you spent months working on this level, whereas now there's a lot more people in the pipeline, but it's rare that two people will be doing the same job on the same level, because it's one file. You can't really be doing that as easily as you'd want. So these days, it'll have one person does one thing and then they pass it on to another thing. And so levels take so much longer to make with so many more people, but you get through more stuff. I'm closing up my time on one level now that might come out this year. I'm not sure. But I'm really late in the modeling process. I'm last of the modelers. And it's just so different to where I remember with a level like this one, I think I did the backgrounds at one point. And when I finished, and when I made some birds, and I finished, and I just thought, all right, I don't know what happens next. I guess it'll come out soon. I guess one of the things now with the bigger team, we're all more informed. We're now in like distinct clumps, but each team knows a lot more about how everything comes together.
With more people, we just get to pour more person hours into a course that still takes 9 months from beginning to end, but we just get to spend so much more effort and make it look all that prettier now, more detailed, prettier. These two courses, Tethys and Bogeys here, are the first time I think that Lucas had to let go of doing pretty much everything. Those first 4 courses are all him, and Edward hopped on for Gothic. But this one and Tethys are the first ones where he has to let go, take a more managerial position, and let me fall on my face a lot, design-wise, whole design-wise. In Tethys, there are a lot of things wrong. This one I'm more proud of, but still, there are so many things I would come back and change that I know better now. So, kudos to Lucas for letting me go ham on this and make my mistakes and build up to something better. I learned on the job.
It's funny, I think of this and the next level that came out of this Coyote Valley is those two are the turning point. Coyote Valley really is manufactured in a completely different way to this one. Completely different. It's a different team structure, a different way of handling things. And also Coyote Valley suffered at this level. By the time I first saw it, it was so complete and it knew exactly what it wanted to be and how it was going to be that. And you'd done a marvelous job. Coyote Valley fought every step of the way. But as a result, it ended up being... Yeah, some levels, they end up having a lot of character in them, but I feel like making a level, it has a lot of character in production as it goes. And this one just always felt like it knew exactly what it wanted to be, whereas Coyote really struggled. But this is that turning point of design. Also really fun. I just loved putting infinitely deep
rickety platforms down there. Yeah, this is one of my favorite spots too. Bye guys, see you up there. That was hole 9. This is the turning point of the course. We found the gold. Now we're out into the boomtown. You're right, just finishing up about Quixote, this is the last one of a limited team, but Quixote, I guess, was the first one where it really felt like it was all hands on deck and all hands touching a little bit of everything, but we had a much bigger team suddenly on Quixote than this one. But it turned out amazing.
I think as well that Coyote represents, I know we're talking about a level we're not in, but the comparison's really interesting. Coyote was the first time we had the resources to experiment, and the wind system is something that was built from scratch for the game. So you can place wind and you can change how it moves, and it'll affect the ball and it'll affect the world. If you look at all the plants, they all sway in the proper way and the proper amount, and that's a system that was built from the ground up. And this level represents really going, oh, okay, we have the resources to experiment and research and do something new. And I know we're still a small indie company, but it's having the extra headroom to really explore and try out things and figure out a better way of doing things. It's really important for us.
Yeah, Quixote was big and experimental. Tethys and this one, I think, ended up being the perfect ones to cut my teeth on because they're very themey. Everyone knows what a Western is. Everyone knows what outer space looks like. And there was no like twist to it like Quixote Valley is windmills turned on its head. And Arizona Modern is Frank Lloyd Wright meets skate park. Those are a lot more abstract and high-minded, and this one is just a simple Western. And I could handle at the time.
It's funny because now that the work is spread over so many different people, you have less personal ownership of a level. So it feels a bit mean, but it's a bit less fun to do a level because it's sometimes when you're doing your own thing, you just pour so much of your soul into it. Whereas we're producing better stuff now because we're a much better, bigger team, but there is that element of it's slightly less personal. Although in the end, everyone does put things, everyone leaves their mark. There's always something you can point to in a level and go, now that's really funny and that's so something. Shane or Emma or Tad or Henning or Craig, everyone's done something. But back with these ones more personal, I love Tethys. It's not my best work. It's not the best course in the game, but I love it because it was so just, I sat down and poured my soul into that level. And when I die, whatever afterlife there is will look like Tethys Station to me.
You spent that much time in there?
Well, I don't play it, but just in making it.
I don't play it anymore either. This one I will come back to. This one feels comfortable. Luke's does a smart move about getting everybody on the same page and discussing potential ideas that we have come up with. We have a board of 200 possible courses we could do, but which ones we actually do will be a matter of what people on a now much bigger team are excited about, what ones will actually go into production. Everything that we're doing has everybody excited throughout the company.
Absolutely. Oh, you just straight to the audience. The next 2 years are going to be great. Like the things that are coming down the pipe are so fun and so creative. And yeah, there is also, like I said, you lose a bit of personal ownership, but the stuff we're getting to make is, I've never had a job where I'm so excited when I get up in the morning and I go to the computer, and we've got a really good company culture. We're saying, please don't do overtime. Please don't burn yourself out. We're in this for the long haul. We want to be looking after each other as well as have to have an alarm to finish, a timer to finish my work day, because I just get so into what we're making, like the Mist level, dream come true, and some of the upcoming ones. I'm like, this is so fun and so satisfying. And just, yeah, it's still great. Never done work I've enjoyed this much. We have the room to experiment, to create. So, say for example, Labyrinth. I modeled the Labyrinth, the outer stuff, the inner stuff. I really did the architecture. And Labyrinth, as an IP, does not obey the rules of physics. Each space is bigger on the inside or smaller on the outside or what have you. Whereas we can't do that. We don't do that in the game. We don't cheat in that way, just the way that the game is built. And had effectively the fun engineering challenge of, okay, here's a magical fantasy world that I adore. How would we build this in real life? And a lot of that had been partially solved before it was given to me, but it was then I had to make it so that each area you're in had the feeling of the scene and the concept art, but that same wall had to be a completely different scene and feeling on the other side of it, while you could sometimes see over it or not. it was a real challenge, but a really fun one. And having the space to solve those problems is so engaging. But yeah, the pressure is on because it is Labyrinth. Please don't break Labyrinth. It's too important for too many people. Yeah, I think the most important bit is that the Labyrinth itself, like these levels, and it's something we haven't mentioned, but the levels themselves need to be a character. If people are thinking, oh, what IP would I like to see Walkabout do next? Think about what world is a character. So, for example, like The Office, if we were to do an Office level, no, it's the characters who are funny. The actual layout of an office isn't a character, it's the people themselves. Whereas Labyrinth, or the Island Misters, they are huge characters, and same for Bogeys. This town is like a character. And I think that's really important to how we decide what we want to do.
It has to be interesting without animatronic, everything, the big characters talking to you, NPCs. It's just gotta be, first and foremost, a interesting place to walk about. 16, in with the safe cracking, gold strewn about, and then
after a
as we
nasty
head
card
out,
game down here,
yeah, brutal
with beans.
poker fight. Saloon is wrecked. You steal the gold, and then you come face to face with this villain.
I love him so much. He is an
Great.
absolute highlight. One day, I want to make a full-size one of him. He just entertains me. It's so theme appropriate, but it's so clearly a mini golf thing.
So cheesy, but this is one of the first things Zach did, I want to say. The rest of this course is pretty much stock assets, and this is the first custom thing we needed. If you play this game, you'll recognize these buildings and that saloon in a few other games. And we were still on stock assets at this point, but this character here was custom made by Zach.
Whereas now, it's the only stock assets we use are rocks, I think, because we've got a good library. Everything else is custom made.
This is the last course where we were pretty much all stock asset. And then, yeah, as soon as the lost cities come in, that's a little bit more abstract than ask for someone to build us a Babylon or a Shangri-La. So we have to start building pretty much everything custom after this.
Still some
Here we are
custom
in Hole.
things. A weird sun.
Right? That was custom. Hole 18 now. Riding off into the sunset. The fitting end to the story. With a view of the gulch off into the distance.